Yay, we're finally going to install our WordPress blog. Now, there's a couple of ways you can install your blog, and that's the easy way and the, well, not so easy way, the automatic way or the manual way. Now, the manual way is set aside for those folks that do not have a cPanel style control panel on their web hosting account. And for example, oneandone.com it's an excellent web hosting service. They've got a lot of pluses. It's just that none of those pluses involve having a cPanel control panel. So with them, you have to install it manually. And another good reason to know how to install it manually, even for those of you that have the cPanel control panel, you do not want to skip that video on installing it manually. It's because in doing so, you're going to learn a little bit more about the intricacies involved in the behind the scenes of the WordPress script. And yeah, it's not mandatory, but let's say those of you that have the auto install feature and a month or two or 6 or 7 or 8 months or a couple years down the line, you encounter a problem. Well, knowing a little bit more about the workings of the manual install may help you fix the problem yourself, or at best, it would give you a little more information on how to describe that problem for somebody else to be able to fix it for you. So it's still a good idea to know how to install it manually, and again, the easy way, the auto install. So that being said, let's go ahead and log into our cPanel control panel as thus. Scrolling on down to the bottom, unless you've made some changes, in which case it won't be at the bottom, but we're looking for the software and services section because we're looking for the blue smiley face guy here for Fantasco Deluxe. And you just simply click on this, bring you to all these cool and free and easy to install scripts. This is one we're going to be looking for right here, but you got certain navigations for your Fantastico, and then you got all these other goodies here that you can click. And in a lot of cases, people will charge you an arm and a leg to do this stuff for you, and here you're a couple of clicks away from having it installed yourself. And just take a look see at this. If you've not checked into Fantasco Deluxe before, pack a lunch because you're going to be here for a while if you go through all of these. I mean, it's just that much information. It's just really that cool. So that being said, when you get some time, check into it. Now, if we click on WordPress here, there's only 3 steps involved, and those 3 steps would be much quicker if I didn't, ramble on here, but I've got some rambling to do. And right here, I wanted to point out that the new version is, as far as the new installation for this particular process, is 2.8.6. Now, I'm pointing this out because on a host monster, and I don't want this to be a testimonial for host monster, a selling pitch, or anything like that for host monster. They are, however, pretty good web hosting service. But with them, however, and there may be other ones out there too like this, just that I don't have accounts with them, you would scroll on down here likewise and hunt for the blue smiley face guy, otherwise known as Fantasco Deluxe, and you click on this. Again, with the same process in mind to install your WordPress blog using Fantastico Deluxe. And oh wait, here's some red letters. Read me first kind of thing. Hey, let's do that. Fantastico is no longer the recommended method for script installation and upgrades, huh? The new method, Simple Scripts, is much faster at releasing feature upgrades and important security updates. Bada bing, this is a fact check because as of the recording, well, here, let me just show you what I'm talking about. Let's go ahead and click on this to install our WordPress. Boom. Now we are no longer in Fantastico Deluxe. We are in Simple Scripts. But the current version here, 2.9.2. And as of the recording of this video, this was released yesterday. How up to date can you get? As a matter of fact, in the spirit of total transparency, I was working on this video yesterday, and whenever I pulled this up, this was already there. This was released. This was inside of here to be installed the day it was released. And putting that in perspective, 2.8.6 is like 3 versions ago. Fantastico Deluxe is beautiful in a lot of what it does. It's just that, as they mentioned here in their little write-up, that releasing up-to-date info or up-to-date scripts is not one of their strong points. There's nothing at all wrong, by the way, with installing 2.8.6 because, as we will show in, because this is the one we're going to install, by the way, but as we will show in upcoming videos, upgrading this is a snap. I mean, just snap, crackle, pop, done kind of thing. So that being said, I just wanted to alert you to the fact that there are other services out there in addition to Fantastico Deluxe that can do a top-notch, in some eyes even better, job than Fantastico Deluxe. So that being said, let's install our WordPress blog. Oh, yeah, and for those of you that have been following along, that have been keeping things organized, and I know you have, you've got your detail sheet with all of your goodies on there, your usernames, your logins, your passwords, and all that kind of cool stuff, like for your subdomains, main domains, and all that. Well, right here, we will be installing our blog on our main domain. So we're going to go ahead, and I've just created this arbitrary gibberish here for our password. I'm going to go and put that in my clipboard. And I'm going to use the username of admin. Hey, there's a new one. For our login admin name or username. And you would, if you're going to be doing the same for subdomains like we discussed in a prior video, then you want to keep the same type of details for your subdomains. And if you're going to have a lot of subdomains and a lot of main domains and a lot of blogs related to those, then you're going to also have to have, my suggestion, database info as well. And we'll cover this in just a second, but you want to differentiate the databases from the other databases related to subdomains and subdirectories and the like. Now, yes, you can have one database housing all the goodies for each and every one of these, but that's way above our pay grade. That's a little beyond what we're going to be talking about here. So just to keep things simple, and in most cases, most web servers or web hosting accounts allow you a whole bunch of different databases, so having to squeeze them all into one is not a necessary thing. So but if you have to because you're limited to 5 databases or whatever, then that is possible. I mean, it's very possible. And no harm done, just that we're not going to cover that in these videos. So anyway, I got the password in my clipboard. We're going to use this as our username to log into our blog, which will be housed at that URL. Okay, that being said, get on back to work. Now then, this is what I was referring to here. And by the way, this is step 1 of 3 of installing our WordPress blog using Fantastical Deluxe. Now we're going to install it on our main domain here. And those that created subdomains, that would be popping down right here. Or if you have add-on domains as well, add-on domains, they would be showed here as well. And you get the install process is the same whether it's a subdomain, main domain, or add-on domains. And here the directory, what they're referring to here is if you're going to be putting it on your main domain, leave this blank. If you're going to put it on a subdirectory, which is the .com/whatever, like you might have tweetvideotutorials.com/blog, because you've got your sales page on this main domain and you got your blog as a subdirectory here, in which case the word blog would go in here. So this here is what comes at the end of your main domain. So just a little, it's totally up to you. We discussed the pros and cons of this versus subdomains and main domains as far as locations of blogs in a prior video. So if you need to refresh your course there, break out the last video on creating subdomains. Anyway, so we're going to leave this blank. And here we're going to, this is the login stuff on how to get, once we've got the blog installed, how do we get on the inside to add our posts and to tweak our plugins and this software and that software. You need this stuff right here. So we're going to put in our password here. And we're going to put in the admin here for our username. And this here is stuff that can be configured or added or changed from the inside of our blog once we get it installed. But this is what the admin nickname, this is what shows up. This is what shows up at the end of all of your posts, for example. So you may not want to have admin or super dude. You might want to just put your name there. That's just my suggestion. It's totally up to you, super dude. And the admin email, you want to make sure this is a factual email address, because anybody that's going to be sending you comments or money or asking questions or anything like that from within your blog, this is usually the email address they're going to be sending it to. And yeah, this is something that can be changed later, but I just want to point out this needs to be a factual email address. Site name, they just put this in here as the default kind of placeholder. I would change this, but it's totally up to you. Likewise with the description, totally up to you. And since you can change this later on from inside of the blog, I'm just going to put this here just to show you where these guys show up at once we get our install taken care of. Then click on Install WordPress. Yes, we are 2 out of 3 steps done, but I wanted to point this out too. Go ahead and copy this down and add this to your detail sheet, because again, for the main domain, I'm going to have one of these for each and every blog that I install. one for the main domain, one for all the subdomains. If I put in any directories, I'm going to have this info for each and every one of those, because if the old crapola hits the fan blades later on and you have to reinstall all this stuff, knowing your database name, username, and password is a must. You got to know it, because now is the time to get this info recorded rather than when you actually need it later on after everything's already gone, down the tubes. So get this stuff recorded now, okay? And click on finish. And for those of us that are into redundancy, go ahead and have this emailed. All that information that I just told you to record on your data sheet, have it all emailed to you as well, because let's say you all of a sudden 6 months or a year down the line get the blue screen of death, your computer decides to go belly up, and your data sheet, which is in a folder on your computer, is no longer, because it went along with your hard drive. So what are you going to do now? Well, either you had that stuff kept off site, which would be even a better idea, or you have this on your email client, which is usually going to be off site. In other words, it's stored over in Microsoft somewhere if you got Outlook, or somewhere on Mozilla stuff if you got Thunderbird. So that way you can, once you get all your goodies reinstalled, you pull up your email account and boom, you got all your details right there for reinstalling all of your blogs, because you had it emailed to you. So I would say record all your stuff on your data sheets as I've suggested, and have it all emailed to you as well. Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Okay, folks, I think we're done. Back to WordPress overview. Let's visit our site, shall we? There we are. And that's it. That's how simple it is. We are now installed. We are in the blog world now. And this is the name, as I had showed you, the .com thingy. So we can change this in an upcoming video so it doesn't look like a URL. It'll look like an actual name to your site. And this is the description. Well, that's kind of lame. We're going to put an actual description there. And we're going to do a whole lot more to this. We're going to make it look really cool and pretty. So that's going to bring us to the end of this video on how to install WordPress the easy way. Thank you very much for watching, and you have a great day.